Next, let's talk about protein portions for these minute meals. And I'm actually going to do at least 2, maybe 3 videos about proteins. The next one's not going to involve any cooking, but this one will be cooking for people who like to cook. Like me, I enjoy cooking. That's why I have a foodie website with some 200 plus recipes on there that I've written. I've got over 200 videos on YouTube. I have a free cookbook on my website. I even had a TV show for a while. I like to cook, okay? But not every day. So what I do when I make these protein portions for my minute meals is I cook big. Really, really big. I make a lot of food that I can then portion down into single servings, store it in my freezer. I'm not going to have to cook like this again for 2, maybe 3 months. So it makes life a lot easier. And what I've got going is I have a roast leg of lamb going in the oven. I prepped that yesterday. It's my famous, I call it famous, pesto lamb. This is why it's famous. I entered it into a nationwide contest and I won a place in one of America's Test Kitchen's cookbooks. Cook's Country Best Lost Suppers. There's my pesto lamb right there, and there's my recipe. I'm in a cookbook, right? Okay, and that's on my website, by the way, Mobile Home Gourmet. There's a recipe for pesto lamb. I buy a leg of lamb, boneless, open it out, spread the inside with pesto, tie it into a roast, put pesto on the outside, wrap it in plastic, put it in the refrigerator overnight. Then the next day, today, I roast it. I'm also going to debone 2 chickens today, 2 large chickens. I don't need to show you the whole process of deboning chickens because that's also on my website in the basics section of the recipe archive, and there's a link to a YouTube video. So, and it takes quite a while to do all that work. But I do want to show you what I'm going to do to season the chicken meat before I put it into the oven. Here is my chicken. This is my chicken breasts. I have 4 of those. This is the leg meat, thighs with the drumstick meat. Before I prep these to go into the oven, I want to talk about spices. I'll set these aside. This is a collection of spices that I have. If all the bottles look the same, it's because I buy butter buds for my vegetables and I save some of the jars for spice mixes. So this, for example, is my blackening spice mix. What I do is I keep the formula on a label on the jar, so when I need to refill it, and this one needs to be refilled, it's almost empty, I have the formula. And I have different ones here that I've made. This is garam masala. You can look on the internet and find a lot of these spice mixes. This is one of my favorite, Pappy's seasoning. That's what I'm going to use today. I also have a pork rub that I use once in a while. This is kind of spicy. So there's a lot of options you can do for spicing your meat. Let's prepare these meats now to go into the oven. I have 2 baking dishes here because I know the leg meat is going to cook more quickly than the breast meat. So I'll probably be taking these out of the oven before the breast meat is done. To prepare my pans, my dishes, I'm going to put some of this Pappy's seasoning in the bottom so that I season the meat from underneath. Not a lot. I don't need a lot of seasoning on my chicken. And then I'm going to put my breast meat in there. These are big breast pieces, but they will all fit in there. I can actually get 6. When I do a really big day, I'll do 6. And then put my leg meat in this one. All right, I need to wash my hands and then I can season the meat here. Now I'm ready to spice the tops of these. Again, just lightly with the seasoning mix. That's good enough. Then I'm going to cover these with foil. Normally you roast chicken to a safe temperature of about 165 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 74 to 77 degrees Celsius. I'm going to undercook these a little bit because later on when I portion them and then heat them in the microwave for 4 minutes with my vegetables, that'll continue the cooking, and I don't want to overcook my chicken. I'm ready to start slicing chicken. What I wanted to show you is I have a couple of, these are actually steam table pans that I bought in a restaurant supply store. I'm going to put my white meat in one pan and my dark meat in another. The reason for that will be obvious when I start portioning my chicken for the freezer. So, my chicken is cool enough now that I can start slicing it. This is the dark meat. This tends to break up because there's a lot of different muscles in chicken legs. If this looks a little bit underdone, that's fine. That's the way I want it, because later on, as I said, when I heat these up in the microwave, they'll get cooked some more. All right. So you see what I'm doing here. I have a lot of these to do. I am ready to now start preparing my chicken portions. First of all, what is a portion? The USDA says a portion of protein is 3 ounces, which is about 85 grams. The reason why I have my dark meat and my white meat separated over there is because I find that with chickens I get more white meat than dark meat. So I figure roughly, if I'm going to be doing 3 ounces, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 ounces of white meat and the rest dark meat. I have my scale set up here. This is another reason why I pre-slice my white meat. Besides making it easy to measure, there's 1.9. I also don't have to use a knife when I go to eat it. I don't have to cut it up. 2.9, that's close enough. I'll add a little bit right there. 3.0. There it is. 3 ounces, that's 85 grams. Seal that. And now this is ready for the freezer. I'll do all of my chicken meat and then we'll see how much food I get out of 2 chickens. So here is my portioned chicken. I got 25 servings out of those 2 chickens. I know they cost me $16.03. 16.03 divided by 25. 64 cents per serving. Economical as well as convenient. Next, I can start portioning my lamb. As far as how I store these, I just put them in a large Ziploc bag. This is a 1-gallon bag. Mark it with the content and the date. Put that in the freezer. There is all my lamb. This is 23 portions of lamb. I can put these in a Ziploc bag, 2 Ziploc bags, and put these in the freezer. Again, do some math with me. There's my cost. $38.47. Lamb is expensive. Divided by 23 servings, $1.67 per serving. That's not too bad. $1.67 for each of these. So there it is. That's one of the videos on these protein portions. This has been a nice full day, but I can relax now. The dishes are all washed and put away. Total number of servings that I got out of the chicken and the lamb was 48. I figure 1 per day, because I have other sources of protein in my freezer, that would get me through nearly 7 weeks. Assuming that I can get other proteins, which I'm going to show you in another video, and put that in the freezer, I might not need to cook like this again for easily 2, maybe 3 months. So that's the first of the protein portions for these minute meals.